Today, my very special guest on Hello Darling talk show is Di Wilcox, a teacher for the past 20 years and top 3 finalists for the Pride of Australia medal. Di is now a founder of the Magic Code program and published author of the Magic Code book, with the mission to create calm, confident and caring kids. Her passion is to uplift, inspire and educate young people, families and teachers in overcoming today's challenges surrounding mental health. Today, Di will speak about her extraordinary book and vision in improving young lives. Hello Di, hello darling and welcome to the show.
Hello darling and thank you for having me.
Di, I have to admit, I had very few hours sleep because I was reading your beautiful book.
I'm so sorry. I hope you enjoyed it.
I loved it, and guess what? I'm going to do a couple of quotes. The Magic Code is yellow because color yellow makes people feel happy and hopeful. It encourages everyone to have fun with a great big smile on their face. Why do you think I'm wearing yellow coat?
I love that you're wearing yellow. Thank you so much.
Big smile won't leave me today.
Wonderful. We need more smiles in this world.
Di, how did it all happen?
So I was a teacher for 20 years and I taught primary school age children. I mainly taught 8 and 9-year-olds, and while I was teaching I just became so disheartened at children who would lose focus, and it wasn't because they didn't want to be at school. It was because when I spoke to them they'd say, Mum and Dad are fighting at home, there's not enough food on the table. Personal beliefs that no one liked them, or some children even they don't understand why they're here in this world. And what was even more frightening is we were seeing children as young as 7 and 8 who are wanting to go to sleep and never wake up again. And for me, childhood should be magical. Childhood should be a time of wonder and excitement. And what we're finding in schools is there's a lot of pressure to perform academically. So what I wanted to do was say to people, let's not focus on academic. Let's focus on the social and emotional well-being of a child first. When they feel socially and emotionally secure, they'll perform academically. And I think that that's something that we really need to advocate, is give children back their childhood first. So from there, I did some research into the area of positive psychology. And positive psychology is all about looking at what's great about someone rather than, what's not great about them. And I think that's particularly important for children. Instead of telling them or giving them a label that something's wrong with them, tell them what's right about them, because children will live to the label that you give them. And that's the work I was doing.
Incredible. I'm putting my finger up because I have so many questions and I know you could answer them all in one go. Now, Di, when I'm hearing you, when I read the book and I enjoyed it, and I don't know if it took me back to my inner child but this book is actually ageless, and I know that you being a primary teacher, you're targeting children, but you can hardly separate the issues of families and children when they go through the mental health challenges, never mind in today's world, COVID world. My question to you is, when you wrote the program, from a day you thought about it to a day the book is published, it has an enormous momentum, including 16th of October will be?
16th of October is Magic Coat Day, and we're very excited about that. We've partnered with the Mental Health Association and the Make a Difference Foundation, and that day is about raising awareness of the importance of children's mental health.
Beautiful. Now, we can't cover it all, but how does Magic Code program works, which is obviously featured in the book?
Absolutely.
Tell our viewers about it.
So what the Magic Code is based on is an analogy that children put on this, using their imagination, they put on this bright yellow coat, just like you're wearing today, which is just gorgeous. So children are told no one can actually see the coat that they're wearing when they put it on at school. And inside this coat are all these magical pockets. Each pocket is a different character, and each character represents a different strategy that children can use to feel calm, to feel more confident, to problem solve, to build their self-esteem. And the children connect with the characters. But what we're doing with the characters is, because young children can't think abstractly till after about the age of 9 or 10, we're giving them the characters as a concrete way to connect to the strategies that we're teaching. But what we've found, and you're absolutely right, is so many adults have connected with it too. And I think it's because we've all got this inner child within us, and there are still things that we have to help our inner child with, and that's why the book is ageless, and the concepts are lifelong.
So I only have 2 pockets on me.
We'll
How
have
many?
to use some more. There are 7 pockets in the Magic Coat, and we're actually adding more next year because we've been asked to help children with special needs. So we've got 2 new characters that we're introducing for children with special needs as well. So it's continually evolving, and we're getting more and more research and more assistance with helping children with new strategies. So I'm really excited that we constantly evolve.
What was your first character you created out of 7?
Yeah, the very first character, interestingly, was Tate the Turtle, and he's a real favourite, particularly with corporate men, which is really funny because
Wow.
I will do, introducing the program to people to help them understand what we're doing with children, and they always love Tate the Turtle, and he's all about finding courage within to try new things and to grow as a person. So, we all go through change and we all have to try new things, and it can be scary sometimes. So Tate's about finding that inner courage.
So it's about courage and guts.
And guts, absolutely. And not giving up when you really want something.
I was going to wear pearls and I forgot, but
Oh,
please tell
yes.
me about Pandora.
And so we have Amelia and Pandora, and that's all about encouraging children to have positive self-talk. So what we say to children is oysters sit at the bottom of the ocean, and all this yucky stuff's getting washed into the oyster's mouth. Instead of closing itself off, it secretes a substance called nacre, and the nacre forms a pearl. And when I heard that, I say to the children, what's so exciting? It's just like us. Every day something comes along and makes us angry or frustrated or scared. We can't secrete nacre, but we can use something even more powerful, and that's self-talk. So we say to children, you have between 40 and 50,000 thoughts flying around your head every day. And for some of us, we go, I'm not good enough, no one likes me, it's going to be a bad day. And if they're the thoughts we focus on, how are we going to feel? Whereas if I decide to focus on, I'm going to have a great day today, I'm going to make new friends, I'm going to feel great. So it's teaching children from a really young age that they have some control over their thoughts, and those thoughts affect their feelings.
Incredible. Di, you are mother of 2 girls.
I am.
I believe you had a personal experience that's
Life-changing, yeah, absolutely. I have 2 daughters, and my youngest daughter, when she was 5, I'd had a really bad day at work. My mother was looking after my daughters for me, and so after work I went to collect them, and my mum looked at me and she just said, you're exhausted, you're so tired, I want you to stay here with us tonight, which actually ended up being a godsend because if we'd gone home, my daughters have separate bedrooms, but at my mother's house they share a bunk bed. And that night, my 5-year-old was being a real little monkey. So I was saying, Sian, if you keep being a little monkey, there's no bedtime story. And she loves her bedtime story. She kept being a monkey, so I said, okay, no bedtime story. And then about 3 hours into all of us going to bed, my 15-year-old just let out the most blood-curdling scream. And it sent shivers through me, and I just knew before my feet hit the floor, I yelled out to my father, call an ambulance. I went running into the room, and my 5-year-old her eyes were rolling back and she was convulsing in bed. The ambulance came and they defibrillated her on the carpet, and then they took us to the hospital, and they came to me and said, there's nothing more we can do. We're going to put her on life support and basically say your goodbyes. And I just remember my parents were holding me on either side, and my legs collapsed underneath me. And I looked at her in intensive care, and I'm not a religious person, but I'm quite spiritual. I believe there's something bigger than us out there. And I looked at my daughter and I just said, if you save her, I'll dedicate my life to helping children. And a couple of days later, they took her off life support, and she was fine, which was just so beautiful. But it was life-changing for me. And I'd made that promise to dedicate my life to helping children, and that's what I'm doing now. And it's taught me, I share that story with a lot of mothers when I'm doing the work, because I want mothers to understand, and fathers, to understand that your time with your children is never guaranteed, and time with them is precious. So I don't want people to go through what I went through to realise that, and so I really make a point of understanding how precious life is.
incredible. It made me emotional. Darling, how do you reach with your program those that
Yeah, so
target?
the program's available and we want it to go global for all children because I really believe for the Magic Coat to be super effective, it's a common language. So it's something you don't just teach children, but you teach parents and you teach teachers. So we train psychologists and social workers. But we also are supported by the Make a Difference Foundation, who ensure that our most vulnerable get access to the program.
Yeah.
So we go into women's refuges and we work with the women and children in there. We work in the women's prisons because people don't realise that in one of our prisons, babies are allowed there till 1 year of age, and in one of our lower security prisons, they're able to be there till they're age 4. So I'm there to support these mothers in their parenting, but also teaching them these preventative mental health skills with the Magic Coat.
And I'm sure you have amazing stories, testimonials. Any story that really touches you most, your heart, since you're teaching, turning around people's lives as you do? Yeah,
there's so many different stories. I think one that really resonates with me is I went down to Albany, which is now Great Southern, and a mother came up to me and she said, look, my daughter is 12 years old, but she has the developmental age of a 5-year-old. She's ADHD, she doesn't speak very much, and we haven't really been able to have a breakthrough in her. And she was seeing a clinical psychologist. She came to some of our workshops, she came to 3 actually, and the day as we were about to leave, her mum came running through the door to see us. And she was so excited and she had tears running down her cheeks, and she said, yesterday I took my daughter to her psychologist and for the first time she spoke because she wanted to share her pocket full of starfish, and the psychologist threw the papers over his shoulder and said, just do the Magic Coat. And you know, when you hear stories like that, it just makes it so worthwhile.
Which is starfish is which number of a program? I remember what it's
so the
about.
pocket full of starfish is all about having confidence and believing in yourself and knowing what makes you special and unique from everybody else.
Which one is about missing people in your life?
So Me Shell and the Magic String of Shells is all about understanding that you are always close and connected to the people that you love. So we help children understand that if their family's overseas or their father works away or mum and dad are divorced, they are always connected to the people that they love, and we teach them to imagine they're holding their shell in their hand, give it a squeeze, send an invisible hug, and because we're all connected by energy, they'll feel it and send them one back, which always puts a big smile on children's faces. And for adults who may find that hard to believe, how often do you have that situation where you're thinking of someone and you bump into them in the shopping centre, or you think of someone and they phone you? So we are always connected by energy.
Incredible. And in now COVID times,
we need it more than ever.
Your shell character we need more than ever for all ages.
Absolutely.
Dai, did you ever come across obstacles related to stigma attached to mental health issues, which you know still remains and was so strong years ago? It's improving. I know myself because with the charitable work we do. But did you ever have situations that you couldn't get through to people because of the stigma attached?
I think we've been really lucky in that we are a preventative mental health program. So we are trying to give children strategies before those issues occur in them. Having said that, there are still principals of schools, for example, who worry that maybe running a program like this may mean that there's something wrong with their students. That's not the case at all, because what we're doing is we're saying, at some point in time, children will face an obstacle or a challenge and they need to know how to manage it. So by giving them this toolkit, which is what Magic Coat's all about, they'll be ready for those challenges when they come along.
Wonderful. Any plan of writing a second book?
We are writing a second book. I'm actually working at the moment on a handbook for tweens, so 10 to 13-year-olds.
Yes.
And we found that there's a real gap for that age group, and it's quite a difficult age because
Teens.
they're trying to find out, trying to understand. So tweens is just before teenage years. So that's why we call it tweens. They're not quite a teenager, but they don't feel like they're a child anymore. They're kind of at that in-between age, and they need a lot of support. So I ran a workshop last night, for example, just for tweens, and I had a little girl come up to me and she had her hands on her hips and she said, do you run anything to build my confidence more? And I said, we sure do. She goes, I'm going to come back for that. So, you know, they really think it through and they understand that we're here to support and help.
Yes, incredible. Now, almost rhetorical question, but why do you think that today's young generation is so deprived of self-confidence?
You know, there's a few circumstances involved with our youth now. They're facing a very different world. We were so lucky, I believe, growing up without social media. Social media has played a huge impact. We have children who compare themselves to others all the time and they feel like they're never good enough. They're also used to now instant gratification. So everything that they expect should come super quickly. They haven't learned that you have to work to gain the things that you want. We've got a lot more family dysfunction happening, so a lot more parents are separating, so they're not having that consistency of parenting. Parents are now so busy with work that sometimes we're forgetting to communicate effectively with our children. So there's a lot of different issues facing our youth that we never had to face, and so now we're having to help manage them through that. And there's a big video addiction to video games and getting children off their phones. So there's a lot of work to be done now.
When you were a little girl, did you need magic code book then, if there was one available?
It's really interesting you say that. I think going through my teen years, I would have loved to have had a magic coat book and those strategies. As a little girl, I think where the magic coat comes from, and I'm really blessed here, is I had a grandfather who I was extremely close to, and he used to take me for walks through the forest, and he would spray paint acorns gold, leave them under a tree with a little note, and he'd take me for a walk and he'd say, "Di, what's that?" And I'd look and he'd go, "The fairies have left you golden acorns under the tree." So I had a very magical younger childhood, and I think writing the magic coat for me was about how can I introduce that magic into children's lives today? How can I bring that back to them? Because I think he instilled an imagination in me that has never left. And but I think there were times in my teen years that I would have loved to have had these strategies to build my confidence. And there's one character in there, Pop the Cork, that teaches you how to stand up for yourself. And I think particularly for women, it's about learning to set boundaries and say no and stand up for yourself is something that needs to be taught at a younger age.
Pop the Cork really stuck in my head because it's anti-bullying. Yes,
it is anti-bullying.
Can you
yes.
tell our viewers? We still have time.
Yeah, of course.
What's Pop the Cork is about?
There are two. He's a message in a bottle, and the two words in that bottle are "excuse me." So what we do is we're teaching children to stand up for themselves if somebody's disrespecting them. It may not even be a bullying situation, but they may say something to them that made them feel uncomfortable. It's okay to use your body language and your eye contact to look someone in the eye and go, "Excuse me," because it kind of makes them go, "Wow, okay, I need to be careful what I'm saying here." It almost makes people think twice about what they're going to say next. But we do teach children, if they continue, how to put their hand up, look the person in the eye and say, "This is not a conversation," and walk away. So we're saying to children, you don't have to stay around someone who is disrespecting you or speaking rudely to you. And that's about learning to set boundaries, and we teach people how to treat us. So getting children to understand that from a really young age.
You say at the end of your program, to stop bullying, it won't help if you're bullying back.
Absolutely. We don't need any more bullies in the world. So I know that there are still parents who will say, if someone hits you, hit them back. But solving violence with violence is never the answer. So we have to teach our children new ways. So you'll also see in the book there's a friendship treasure map, and that's all about teaching children a step-by-step guide to resolve conflict in a way where you get to speak and explain how you're feeling, but you have to listen to the other person and then work together to come up with a resolution. And if we can do more of that and teach our children more of that, I believe we can lessen domestic violence, and we can lessen some of these one-punch attacks we're seeing, because children have a new alternative to that.
Di, do you think there is more bullying happening now than it was in your childhood, or is it just more
I think
tools to speak about?
Yeah, I think it's different now. I think bullying has always been around, but I think it's a different type of bullying. And particularly, one thing that's arisen over the years is cyberbullying. And I think children feel quite safe sitting behind a computer screen or behind a phone screen and saying really nasty things to another person because they're not seeing the reaction of the other person. So they're not actually understanding the hurt that they're causing. There are always going to be those who want to see the hurt. They want to see the reaction. But I think we're seeing more bullying because there are more kids who are not seeing it, but they feel safer to write it.
Tell me, Di, do you think that we all have imagination and some of us haven't discovered how much of it?
Absolutely. And I think our imagination is with our inner child. And some of us are afraid to get in touch with our inner child because it brings back sometimes difficult memories. But I think if we all tapped into it, we still have the opportunity to heal our inner child. And using our imagination can put on our magic coat to help that inner child heal.
I wish a magic coat and magic cape for the whole world that needs it now so desperately. Where can people get your book? Where can we get this beautiful book?
So you can get the book at the magiccoat.com website. It's online, and you'll see other books that we have for parents there and other resources for the children, some tools to help them with their mental health.
And when is the next book coming? And when are the next characters reappearing?
Well, we're hoping the next book will be early 2021, and the new characters will be appearing about April 2021.
I hope it's not 1st of April.
Oh, no, it won't be 1st of April. No, it's very exciting, and I'm looking forward to sharing them with the rest of the world soon.
When you were younger, who was your inspiration? Who was your role model?
Absolutely my grandfather. Yes, I'm very close to my grandfather. As I said, he just made my world so magical, and I still miss him every day, even at my age now.
Beautiful. You've got the magic coat, but I am going to give you now a magic wand.
Oh, wonderful.
And you have 2 wishes, one for the world and one for yourself. What would be your 2 wishes?
My 2 wishes would be that every child in this world had a proper childhood, a magical childhood. And I think the wish for myself is that my imagination doesn't stop for a very long time and I'm able to continue writing stories that make a difference in children's lives.
Beautiful, Di. Thank you so much for being on
Thank
my
you for
show
having me.
and for creating magic.
Thank you so much. You're gorgeous.